We've always worked closely with the ILP from the very beginning, and it's really important to have those industry connections that ILP can help us with. And what's interesting there is that they know the companies that they are working with for years in many cases, and they have a good understanding what's useful for these companies. So it's much beyond just having a website out there where people may or may not find us and might be able to reach out to us. So the quality of contacts we've gotten through ILP has been very exciting. Now, earlier on, it was not set up with startups in mind in particular. It was more around MIT as a whole, and that's where the Startup Exchange program comes into play, and it's a really powerful addition, I think, to the MIT community. And now STEX has this new STEX 25 program that we were recently selected for, and of course that's a big step for us, and it's a chance to get the word out about C2Sense to additional companies, make new connections, and so we are very much looking forward to what's going to happen over the next 12 months with that. It's interesting because now startups, or the startup world, has a much higher profile than it used to have maybe 10 years ago, and even more so if you compare the US and Germany, where I'm from. So throughout most of my PhD, I always anticipated to join a large company, and I'm sure I would have enjoyed it. But I always liked the excitement of building something new, of creating something from scratch. Growing up, I did a lot of stuff with the Scouts, where you work on a limited budget with a team of volunteers who are just motivated about the cause, about what you're doing, and that's not too different from a startup at all. We do pay people, but it's still not the main motivation. People care about creating something new, and that's something I was always very passionate about. But you cannot always force it. But I was lucky that I was in Tim Swager's lab at the time when the technology was ready, and it was a great opportunity to take that out of the lab and launch the company. Now that was an interesting path, because early on it's getting the first confirmation that people outside the lab care about this, where the Deshpande Center came in. They reviewed our technology, they reviewed our estimates on the market and decided to fund us. So that was the first step to move forward with the technology. Then getting funding from the NSF was another confirmation from an outside group, and then step by step realizing, oh, that actually works, and you believe in the technology, but something else to find people outside who are willing to pay for it, and who care enough, who feel like you're solving a big enough problem that it's worth sticking around for a startup. So it was this step-by-step transition, and I think nowadays there are a lot of founders who always know that they wanted to do a startup. For me, it's different. I thought I'd end up in a big company and would just do stuff in my free time. And now having this opportunity is really great, and I think it might almost be beneficial to have thought about different options and then have chosen the startup because it seemed to be the best fit and not because it had to happen. So very, very exciting, but it's a long path, and I think everyone should understand that and should be excited about it, not for the eventual outcome maybe, but for the process of launching a product, creating something and putting it in people's hands to use.